Alright there, guys. Sorry it's been a while. I've been ultra busy, so I haven't really had time to make any music, to be honest, let alone think about making tutorials. Before I start this one, I just want to give a kind of disclaimer, I guess. I've stopped thinking of this place as kind of just a place to put tutorials in the normal sense a while ago, and I started thinking of it more of just a place where I can share ideas that I'm working on. I always get loads of really good ideas in the comments and stuff, so it's kind of, I treat it as almost like a little forum for us to talk about music, basically, and I'll just give some ideas of what I'm thinking about. So, you might not find anything useful in here, but hopefully you might do. And if it's not for you, then sorry. Basically, over the last couple of years, I think year and a half, one of my favourite acts in the UK, electronic acts, has been an act called Mount Kimbie, who do a kind of really cool post-dubstep style of music. And I've been thinking about that a bit recently and trying to incorporate some of their ideas. I don't know about how you guys feel about this, but I think that you have to imitate sometimes in order to develop your own style. So I'll play you a couple of short excerpts of Mount Kimbie tracks, just so you can get a feel for what I'm talking about in a minute. Here's one. And here's another one. So as you can hear, it's got a really kind of detailed style, and they use quite a lot of field recordings and found sounds, things, noises you wouldn't normally expect to hear in electronic music tracks. So I've been thinking about that recently and making kind of micro grooves out of them. And I've been using this website for a while now, a couple of years maybe, and it is just awesome. It's called freesound.org. And basically this is a community of people who put up Creative Commons samples of all different types. So what that means is that there's no royalties to pay, they're free, and if you ever got your tracks released, that's definitely a while off that kind of point, but if you ever were to get them released, you wouldn't have any issues with sample clearance or anything, because the license on these samples means that you can use them in tracks as long as you just have to attribute them to the person who made them. So it's freesound.org. And what I like to do is I like to go to this section on the side, sample packs, and people will make packs of samples, based on a particular type of sound source. So we've got fireworks, birdsong, machines. This is a huge list of packs people have made. So you would never even be able to listen to all the different sounds that are on here. So it's a pretty amazing resource. And the reason I like to download the packs, rather than you can just download the individual sounds, but the reason I like to download the packs is that I like to make I kind of think of it as like an artist's palette before I start. I'm thinking of like a family of similar sounds to give the track a kind of cohesive vibe. So on this track I'm working on back here, I've used kind of some electrical sounds, a few kind of mechanical noises, a few metallic sounds and stuff. But you might want to do one with some really natural sounds, woody, earthy tones and stuff, or you might want to do some with really industrial sounds and kind of keep it in a kind of theme, and that should help your tracks stick together a bit better. But so definitely check this site out. You have to make a username, but check it out. And I also recommend, if you do find yourself using it a bit, donate, because it's a really good free resource and we want to keep it that way. So what I've been doing is loading samples like that into Ultrabeat, and you could just pull them in as normal audio files. No, that's not the one, that's drums. You could just pull them in as normal audio files and make your grooves as audio files in Logic, and lots of great producers choose to do it that way. But the reason I load stuff into Ultrabeat is, for me, it's quicker, and you've also got all these tools that you can use, like you can shape your sounds with envelopes. You can easily pitch them up and down. So like, for example, yeah, so these sounds that sound kind of like something being loaded into a rack or something. They're actually sounds from machine shops or something, and I've pitched them up a lot to make them have that kind of clicky quality. It sounds to me like someone in a game, you know, if you're in a fight, playing Battlefield or something, picking up a pack of weapons or something. But if you played it at its normal pitch, C3, it's quite a different sound. So it's for me, it's a really fun thing to do, is play around with the pitching of these things, the envelopes, and you can also mix them in with synthesized sounds in Ultrabeat. So you can use a sample as part of it and then mix in a synth part. I mean, I'm not sure I've done that anywhere here. But for example, if I go to the drum track, my kick is a mixture of a sample, which is this kind of kick. Well, here's what the sample sounds like. And then I've mixed that in with a synthesized kick sound as well to give it a bit more weight. So I came up with, well, I'll play you a little bit, and I'll show you what that kind of sampled groove sounds like. So here come the sampled parts. So that's where I'm up to so far. I should point out that this is very, very much unfinished. I've just been working on it for a few hours this morning. So as you can see, it's basically completely unmixed. I've hardly done anything to most of the tracks. Even the sounds, those sampled sounds are all coming out on the same track. I haven't even bothered to put them on their own tracks yet. But you can get the idea. And it's kind of, I don't know, gives some quite nice textures. Other points about this that I've taken from that style of Mount Kimbie, we've got these chords which are just plain sine waves. They do some, as you heard in one of the tracks, the sort of excerpts earlier, they do really nice jazzy chords, and what seems to just be like just pure sine waves, and it sounds really nice. I haven't actually quite got mine sounding quite as good as theirs. I'm not sure if they're doing something different, maybe using triangle waves and low passing them or something, but I'll have to work on that. But Also on that, I've got the kick drum kind of sidechained to that through a bus, so they should sort of duck out when the kick. Could be more pronounced actually. Might even give it a slightly longer release. That's quite a common sound with all these post-dubstep producers. James Blake's another one who does this very well. I've also tried something. As I say, it's fairly unmixed. I've only set up one reverb so far. Usually I'd set up a few different reverbs and send things to different size reverbs at different times. But I haven't got to that stage yet. But I've tried something which I've never done before, which is to sidechain, use a sidechain compressor over the reverb. So a lot of these things are getting sent to this reverb, and for example, if I take, so the reverb itself actually ducks out when the kick comes in. I can't even figure out whether I can hear much difference or anything, but I'm trying it out. We'll see what happens as more and more things get sent to that reverb. It might become a bit more pronounced. Oh yeah, this is a sound directly stolen from, well, the sound isn't stolen, but the idea is stolen from a Mount Kimbie track. They use a kind of smashed pot sound as a percussion piece in one of their tracks, and I just think it's awesome. So that's cool. Apart from that, what have we got? We've just got some bass, which is a very simple square wave bass. I should point out as well that what the track I've got here isn't really post-dubstep. It's not really any part of that dubstep. It doesn't really slot into that genre because of the tempo. It's 120, so it's more of like a house tempo. And as you can tell, it's that kind of rhythm to it as well. But whereas Mount Kimbie would be working mostly at kind of 140. And doing the sort of halftime thing. So I've used a huge amount of, when I made my pattern in Ultrabeat initially, what I usually do is make a simple pattern in Ultrabeat, then drag it out using the pattern drag to arrange function, and then I sort of do more details in the piano roll in Logic. But when I was making my initial groove, I used the full amount of swing, which is something that you would hear on these kind of a lot of dubstep obviously uses a lot of swingy beats to get that kind of skittery feel. So apart from that, we've just got an FM8 which is doing a very simple line. How does that work? Yeah, it's what have we got? It's just we've got a carrier of ratio 1 and an operator of ratio 4, which just, it's very simple. You could probably do the same thing in the ES2, to be honest, using its frequency modulation. So apart from that, it's a few details. I borrowed my friend's Moog the other day, so I was playing around with that. It's got quite a nice fat warm sound. That's just a Moog Little Fatty, which is quite a nice little synth. It's very simple, but it's got a nice tone to it. So I mean, there's not really much to this yet. As always, I'm probably going to get to the stage where it's about 3/4 done, and then I'll abandon it. But that I don't mind that. That's just because I'm still developing my sound and developing ideas. So I treat these as kind of like sketches, basically. So there wasn't really much technical tutorialing in this one, but hopefully a few ideas for you that you might want to go away and try it yourself, basically. So I'll see you around soon, guys. Bye.